I know there are many people who think a short film is the way to the big film, and the big film is the way back to the short film that comes before the big film. I don't know what the fuck it's about, but go for it. Just make your own bloody film, because what we saw before our film moved me as much as what Xingsha and what you think about our film does. I think, you know, it's all about the kids. Sorry. Go for it, kids. Fuck you very much, you know. It's not a system, it's an energy. Please have that energy. I hope we give you that tonight. And then I can leave, right?
No, Chris.
But the bar is still open.
I'd like to ask you.
Hold on, he's still.
Yeah, well, I'm just giving you. I'd like to ask you, why did you choose to use a narrator to make this film? And secondly, why did you divide it into 4 seasons?
How many do you want?
First of all, I think it is very rare for directors in Hong Kong to have the chance to offer to make a big martial art film at that point in '92, and one of the reasons it's because Brigitte at that point worked with Choi Hak, and they have made a very successful film called Swordsman 2. And in the film, Brigitte plays a man, a guy, so he's in drag. And that film, it's very, very successful. So, and it became a trend for the revival of martial art film at that point. And I have the chance so there's a chance, and of course I would jump into these opportunities. And so I just want to put everything I know about martial art film, these genres, including all the westerns that I've seen, Sergio Leone's and samurai films, everything I know into this film. And the first thing that I know about these genres is the martial art world. Chinese martial art novels is not from words, it's not from the book itself. Because at that point, there's radio programs. The first things that the first encounter with martial art worlds is through radio programs, it's at night. So I just wanted this film not only to be seen, it can also be heard. So I have these narrations from one person's, so I can imagine if it is a radio programs, so you can at least, there's a narration like this. And about the structures of this film, it's, first of all, you have to understand the original novel, Eagle Shooting Hero, is an epic. It's 3 volumes, it's millions of words, and it has hundreds of characters. So, and there's a lot of adaptations because it's a very popular book, and there's a lot of adaptations, different versions before us. So I just try to think, well, what will be our angle? We just want to make a difference. And one thing we decided to do is, instead of like all these previous versions shot in the studio, we shot it in locations, in the deserts. And the second thing is, I just choose 2 characters which most intrigued me in this novel and create the younger days. And because there's so many characters, it is a complicated story, so we need the structures. And the structures basically is based on a Chinese almanac, because the film is about like a repetitions, a cycle. There's always spring next year, but somehow the faces change. And so I think this is the right structures for this film.
Hi. I feel like Ashes of Time is one of the films, the pinnacle films that helped make this era, the late 80s, early 90s Hong Kong cinema what it was, especially because it has all of these great actors from that period, aside from Chow Yun-fat and Jackie Chan and Stephen Chow, but has practically everyone between this and the comedy version of Eagle Shooting Heroes that you produced at that time. And so it's like a snapshot of all these great actors at their peak. And I was wondering how all of you feel about looking back at that period and how you help make it what it was?
I think we should start with Brigitte.
First of all, we don't look back.
那个有这么多那时候最杰出最好的演员，我想这种情形，大家一起合作的机会是，这将来是根本不太可能有这种组合。那个也是只有王家卫才可以有这种阵容这种 team。那么我们也有很多的回忆，很多的美好回忆。
It's quite unusual to get a cast like this. It probably may not happen again. And only someone like Kar-Wai can get everybody together. And she had very good memory of shooting the film.
Okay, I think the real question is why the fuck can he get all these people together if it wasn't about what it's about, which is about, okay, so you're a big star. So why don't you try and make a real film? That's what he says to me all the time. Chris, is that all you can do? I think the Wong Kar-Wai system is that all you can do? I think he's established, and again, he's going to refute me, of course, I hope so, because I have to go to the bar, but that's another story. And then I think the whole point is that the integrity, it takes you further. You cannot expect more from yourself than 30%, but this bastard asks for 50%, you know? So I think then the only thing that validates that expectation is the work itself. Okay, so why the fuck would I spend, most of my life with this bastard? If, everyone asked me, why have you spent so much time? And I'm sorry, I've never said this before, by the way. And he wasn't prepared for it. So because what Ching Sha is saying is, okay, yes, we are at a certain level, how do we go further? Why do we expect more of ourselves? Because that's what life is about, not just movies is about. That's what you can achieve, and that's why we're saying to the kids, go out and make your bloody film. Because 30% more is more than 300% more. Don't try to be Wong Kar-Wai tomorrow. Try to be 30% more of who you are. Now, that's what I feel when he says to me, is that all you can do? Usually it's that's all I can do.
So, no, I think the experience on working on this film is a very memorable one because it is when I look at this film, it's the days of being wild of all of us and of Hong Kong cinemas because it is a time that you can see all these energies, the possibilities, and I don't think it is possible to make films like this today, but in those days, this is everything is possible, and we are really crazy because, as you just said, we decided to work on this film because we have to get the budget to create this film. So I work with my partners. We decide to shoot the same story, but in 2 different versions. He's going to do a parody of my film because he's a very successful commercial comedy director. But somehow my shooting schedule is much longer than his, so he has to create a parody without the original first. And I still remember there's a moment on the last day of shooting. Because we decided we have to leave the deserts, and this is the last date of all this 6-month shooting, and the night before we have a party because all the crew in this towns don't go away.